And it's interesting because so many people actually that achieve something and they make a certain amount of money, they get miserable. They don't feel that level of happiness that they actually connected with reaching that very goal. And to me, it's kind of obvious because once you reach that level, and I felt this for myself a couple of years ago when I reached everything in certain goals and I made a lot of money, but I wasn't happy. But then I realized, okay, now it's time to put in the it's time to put in the time and think about what you truly want in life. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to today's podcast. My guest today, Steffen Sontheimer, is one of the best poker players in the world. I'm incredibly grateful having him here today on the podcast. He's sharing a lot of advice when it comes to playing poker, how to become pro, not only poker related, but also mindset related. His approach, his work ethics are outstanding, and we used to live together in Brighton, and I learned a lot from him, and he always inspired me as someone as working really hard yet staying very, very humble. And despite making so much money, he found a way to not let all the success overwhelm him. He never lost the ground under his feet, and if you're new into poker, Stefan plays all the high rollers live, or used to play them. He now focuses more on cash games only. That's where he came from, and then he transited more into live tournaments and crushed there as well. Now back to the roots, he's playing more cash game, which are considered as one of the toughest games worldwide, PokerStars cash games, and he's beating them with an excellent win rate. So lots of stuff you can learn from this podcast. Don't miss this one out. If you guys have any questions, drop it in the comments. And now enjoy the show. What's up, everyone? Welcome. Today, Steffen Sontheimer is joining me for another episode of the Raise Your Edge podcast. Very excited to have him on board here. Steffen, what's up, man? Welcome.
Yeah, glad to be here. Good to speak to you. It has been a while, I guess.
Has been a while. For most of the people that don't actually know, we used to live together in Brighton. How was it living with me?
In the beautiful Brighton.
Brighton.
Well, it's how to put that in words. It's on the one side very motivational to live together with Bencb. On the other side, it's a challenge. And I remember the no coffee time. I remember the no sugar. I mean, on the positive side as well. I remember the package you got from your parents for like Christmas cookies and stuff during a time you avoided sugar. So that was all for me.
Yeah.
Shout out to your mom and dad here. So,
but you really liked my non-sugar energy balls. You remember those?
That was like Rocher, right?
Yeah.
They tasted like Rocher. That was awesome. Yeah.
But the healthy version without sugar. Yeah, I was quite hardcore back then. I would say I'm taking it a little easier today. I even have a coffee latte today because I only slept 4 hours.
I just had a regular coffee here, so
yeah. No, it was Brighton was interesting, so to speak. It was the city itself, but the experience with you and Rainer Kemper living together was a great combo.
Yeah, interesting, right? It's not like, I think we all agree that this would be a plan for like three of us living together for like a longer period of time.
Yeah.
But it was I don't know, like the getting there, everyone not really feeling home at Brighton, right? And trying to get along at the same time as like having a super interesting time professionally, right? It was for the three of us the first time like living somewhere else with people. I mean, you knew Rainer a little, but we met like half a year before, and
but we knew each other from Sherry Island playing Scoop, so we already.
Yeah, sure, but it's like still 1 year ago we didn't know each other at all. So and like that is what I mean with like very motivational, right? Seeing you putting your grinds in the night. And like the reviews in the morning, the sharing content, the talking to each other, like just the keep going is kind of a flow you get into, which is obviously great for the work side.
Yeah. To be honest, I think I would have stayed longer, but somehow I couldn't really. I never really started feeling home in Brighton. I mean, I guess it takes some time anyway, but even though you live somewhere in a different country, after a year or two, you definitely want to start feeling this. For example, in Vienna now, like I totally feel like home. I can definitely relate to. My vibes are matching much better with what is going on here in Vienna, and with Brighton I never really got this, and after a year I realized, okay, this is not very sustainable.
I think that was kind of the same for me. I remember about reasons as well, like the two of us, we were both injured getting to Brighton, and we agreed like this is always our first spot to get to know new people. Our plan was to go in the local soccer club and crush those guys, right? Or just like be friends with them and have a team. And I think I was like couldn't do anything for like half a year or something. And you for 3-4 months at least. So like this, like what you had something on at the ankle. This is. I had to think of that when I got that injury right now. I don't know the English word for it, so I can't do anything right now here.
Kreuzband? You had a Kreuzbandriss, right? Like you said in German.
Meniscus.
Or meniscus, yeah.
That the thing that Daniel Negreanu had, I guess, when he was like rolling around Bahamas in his scooter. But yeah, we agreed on that, and for me another point was really the weather. It's like everyone says that shit weather in England. I love the summer so much, and I mean, just look back that the last 2 summers in Vienna was just so great, and in Brighton, I never had that feeling. It was like sometimes it was more than 20 degrees, but then it was like so windy. I remember some tries to play beach volleyball there, and it's like, fuck it, right? Like some parts that are super important to me in life were just missing there. And then after maybe, I don't know, there was not like a certain point, but that came over time where I decided, okay, I'm here for work and I'll take my breaks, my holidays. I'll work my ass off whilst I'm in Brighton. And when I'm not there, I'm just really on holidays and try to enjoy life as much as possible.
Yeah, it's same for me, for sure. And then of course, the food as well was for me a big thing. Not only the weather, like going out. I mean, we found one spot, but everything else was not something that I would say matches my
100%.
Yeah.
I remember like the coming back home, you know that moment, right? I guess is the saying like, oh, Ben is coming home. What do you want to have for dinner? Back then, Brighton time, I was like, I want to have this, then this, then this. Then I want to go to those 5 restaurants because I'm missing it so much. And when someone asks me nowadays, like, what do you want to have for dinner? Like, I'm like, no clue. I decide I have the same problem every day. Because I can choose, and I have so many great options to choose from. Talking about Vienna or here now living in Mannheim is the same. And I'm like, whatever you want, I'll eat what I'm happy. So that was a really, really different way of getting home.
Definitely 100%. Stefan, so you're enough Brighton. You're now in Germany. What have you been?
Enough Brighton.
Then,
like 3 years of Vienna that were great, and now like moving forward in a little in life. Like it's really so different. I couldn't ever call Vienna my home because it's like I'm just like I love where I grew up. I love the people around there, and this is just my home and will always stay my home. I'm pretty certain about that. But Vienna, I love the city so much. The people around, like the community we have or had there, like all the stuff you can do at my tennis crew, my basketball crew, my whatever, like anything I wanted to do, I could do. And the work was great with all the poker players around, and the life was great as well. And now it's just for me several other reasons that drew me back into the direction Germany. So and now happy, like I just told you before we started that podcast, right? Like lots of stuff, moving places, you got lots of stuff to do, and it's always a little annoying. And now I'm in the, like I told you, like for 3 or 4 months, I'm really kind of back in the grind strongly, and this is all done, and now I can start having like a real life the way I want to live it here.
What are you grinding at the moment?
I'm grinding mainly cash, like Midstakes. I started grinding lots of cash in October again. Like there was a clear point where I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to have like a normal schedule. I don't want to force myself to play the whole night tournaments, or like I want to be a pretty much a free man when it comes to work. So and I enjoy it. Like this is where I come from. I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, I didn't play too much cash for a while. So what I did was just putting infinite volume in to see where I'm at. And I'm not thinking like I'm the best in the world and there are all those great people working their asses off, and I just disappear from the cash world for 3 years, play some big tournaments and then come back and crush them. So
Yeah.
I played the Zoom 200, I played Zoom 500, I play the 500 1K normal tables. Right now I'm open seating 500 and 1K, and get good tables going there, and I mix in the occasional higher stakes when I find good tables. But it's a good thing, and I'm in the lab, so I'm working hard right now.
Man, I have so many questions, and I think a lot of questions that will also be very interested for everyone that is listening or watching in terms of studying routine and your plans. But you were just mentioning something very interesting, that I would say that not many poker players are capable of approaching it from the way you're approaching it. You mentioned you're playing Midstakes, and you told me you play Zoom 500, you open sit 1K, you occasionally play a 2K cash game. Most people would say it's high stakes. And it kind of proves the point that I see you as someone who remains as very humble and very modest. You played 100Ks, 50Ks. I think you even played the Super Bowl. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You miss out on the 1 million one drop.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. You played the one drop, right?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to think or to fall into the trap of, I'm there, I made it, Yet you're totally different. You're so humble. How do you manage to stay so humble despite of playing for so much money? I've seen guys that they started playing 1Ks and they thought they're the kings of the world, and a couple of months later they lost everything. I get so many emails and messages. Ben, I won 5K. I thought I know how to beat poker. I thought I know how the world works. And then a couple of months later, I lost everything. I learned my lesson, but how can I get back into it? So now you're basically on the top of the world in poker. How do you stay so humble?
Well, for me, it's just always pretty much knowing where the edge or the money comes from in the end. So in tournaments, I could feel like good because I was not perfect, but I think I was pretty high up there. And like when I have that confidence, I'm ready to speak about it as well. Like I was I'm pretty certain about that. I was like top 5 of the world at some point at least.
I can prove it. I saw the win rates in Brighton.
Well, now I'm talking about the tournament stuff right now, but
if you belong to the top in cash game and you transition to tournament poker, I guess that's.
But that was, and it's like, but it's about knowing where it comes from, and now this feeling coming back to cash. I know lots of those players that play there, and they were like had similar win rates like myself 3 years ago when I was still playing cash. They were probably same level like me, and they did one thing for 3 years straight while I was traveling the world and working on other spots. I was working on 20 BB, 40 BB on ICM and all that shit, and they stick to 100 BB cash. So I know how much more work I could put in every single day, pretty much. I'm not living for the work, I'm not living for the game.
Yeah.
Like I love it, but it's not Fedor described it, I guess, when he was thinking, dreaming poker for 5 years straight, 24/7. That's not me, right? So I think there are lots of people out there that must have kind of the similar talent or are as smart as I might be, and they were just putting the work in. So how in the world could I ever think that I'd just come back and be better than them? So why should I play against them? So I'd rather choose to, like, I called it more like I want to see where I'm at. I want to play like players that don't have that experience, that didn't make it to the high stakes yet, maybe. And there, I just wanted to prove it pretty much to myself. I don't have that. I call it might sound offensive a little, but I always call it that American gene a little, where they get told in school already you are the best in the world, the greatest, right? They have that. Lots of players in the poker world as well. If you see a live cash game grinder and who is shit, right? He will think he's the best player in the world. And like I see so many people on that, and I'm just like, why? If I find the reason why I should be the best, if I'm Linus right now and I know why and in which spots I'm better than the others, I would feel like that. But I'm just like, I did not solve the game. I know how I have trouble in lots of spots, and I just have to assume that people put more, like other people put more work in than I did the last years. So they have to be better, I would guess.
Yeah.
And then sometimes at the table you obviously see shit, and then you have that feeling again that everyone is shit. But that's just the emotional part of poker.
Dude, when I started looking into multi-way sims, I was like, I'm out. Okay, I'm out. How the fuck did I play multi-way before it's done?
You would love the cash game, right? We don't play with ante.
Yeah.
So we can simplify to just 3-betting all the time, and we don't have multi-way spots pretty much.
Yeah, okay, and, fair enough, yeah.
We have multi-way spots when there is a recreational player or a really bad player around. And, well, then you don't need the sims. So this is, I'm out for multi-way sims. You can have them. It's all yours.
No, but it shows that I always see it as a scale that visualize it from 0 to 100. And let's say if you reach 100, you play perfect poker in the GTO world. But according to the capabilities of our brains and how much we can learn and how much we can we can keep in our minds or we can remember, I would say we're currently at, I don't know, 2%, you know, maybe 3, maybe 1.5. I don't know, but it's very, very far away from playing very good poker.
I mean, you can follow high stakes, the supposed to be best players in the world, right? Yeah. And it's just sometimes they are so far off, even like super good player playing super good player, and you cannot like justify like everything with random exploit. They just don't know. They have like an approach to get close to something that makes sense, and their approach might be better than ours. Yeah. Right? But that's it. Like they will lose to the guy who uses the real time solver pretty much. Yeah.
And they're still better than those who are, let's say, at 1 or 1.5 at the scale, right? And that's what it is all about. You simply just need to be better at the others. But it also shows you how much more is possible. Like every year now, when I started poker in 2009, people told me poker is dead. And every year you hear the same, poker is dead. Yeah. There's nothing more to learn. I'm like, what the fuck? Have you ever seen all the 3-bet pots, multi-way sims, so different stack sizes? There's so much more to learn, so much more room to improve.
I always get confused when I pretty much review my session and run, like I pretty much run every big pot.
Yeah.
So there are like lots of 3-bet pots in there, but some 4-bet pots as well.
Yeah.
And then it takes the freaking solver 15 seconds to solve that 4-bet pot because it's low SPR. Yeah. It's tight ranges. Yeah. It's just like it should be super easy to play that, to solve it. And I mean, the amount of mistakes made in those is just mind blowing. It's really like insane. And if you like review it and you see like, okay, this move just costs him $25 in that $500 pot, right? It's like that's the real money that you leave on the table.
Yeah. 100%. You mentioned you're playing cash games now. I know it's a very sensitive topic. If you don't want to talk about it, we can move on. But I know that there are a lot of people out there that are always seeking for some sort of tax advice. I'm always, listen guys, we're not no tax experts at all, but maybe you can quickly elaborate on why you go for playing cash games now instead of playing tournaments. Maybe just share your point of view, why it makes sense for your current situation.
So I want to just like tell a little about my story there maybe.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to move back to Germany just for private reasons pretty much. I want to live together with my girlfriend here. She has a great job here, and like I love being home the most. Even though Vienna is or was a great place, I will go there in summer so often, 100%, because it's just hang out with the guys and enjoy some time off in great weather. So that was, and I always told myself when I started my poker career that the non-poker part of my life should always be first. So if I decide I want to do something, I don't want to have that trade-off, money versus real life. If I want to be somewhere, right, I hope I pay like 6-digit amount of taxes. That would be great because it means I'm crushing. And obviously you could make or lots of people would do that equation. Like, okay, I live there, I like it maybe a little more there, and you have to or I live somewhere else and make like X more dollars, right? And like I always told myself in the beginning, and I always will or want to stick to it, to that, is that I don't want to get into that spot. So I tell myself, whatever I want in the non-poker life, this is first for me. So that decision was made without like really thinking, just like, what do I want?
Yeah.
Without the financial thoughts you have to put into it. I mean, it's obviously easy to talk about it when you're in kind of a good spot financially, right? But yeah, and then the next point was, okay, for me, and now I need to find out how is that possible for me now, since German taxes are very complicated, and the problem is that there are no real rules. That's how I take it for poker, that the tax authorities can point the finger on you and you have to show them that whatever they say is wrong, right? So it's not just like there's no law, no rule for poker players that says, hey, poker players have to do this and that would be easy to follow, like for any other job. So it's really case by case decisions made, and I tried to simplify the whole poker world. So we all know how it works. The high roller tournament world, you have pieces here, you have pieces there, you sell action, you cannot play a 100k or a 300k or $1 million tournament just like with your money. That won't work. And this is not, I don't know whether anyone was just playing with his own money. Even the richest people, they sold something to friends, right? And that is just like, is not fitting into any German tax system. This is pretty much what I learned talking to lots of tax advisors. So I decided, well, this is not what I want to do in the first place. I'm like, I love traveling the world, but I don't need to do it as a job like every week. So first decision made, cut off live travel and super high rollers. Right? So it gets way easier when you just play your own money, because then, well, it's like so many parts that are difficult tax wise. They are just cut off. So the next part is you want to take away variance. Now, the problem is just there might be solutions, but I don't want to be the first guy that tackles all that and gets into trouble. So I just want to stay out of trouble, and I'm happy to pay my taxes on the winnings I'm really having. I don't want to take a risk of like being break even because I lose here and I win there at the end of, and I pay partly winnings on one of those cases, right? So I might have a break even year and someone tells me pay us 100k in taxes. I'm like, what the fuck? This is the risk I don't want to have. So first thing is cut this off. Second thing is, well, low variance is good for me.
So basically, maybe just for clarification, so people really understand that, let's say you play a 100k tournament, you play you lose in this one, you lose 100k, maybe you play a second bullet, you lose 200k, but you have shares on someone in this very tournament, and you cash, let's say, for 80k, and then they don't recognize the 200k you lose, but they want taxes from the 80k you win. So essentially you're down 120k, yet you still have to pay 30-40k in taxes for the 80k that you won. Right.
So this might be wrong or not, but I cannot have like safety. That's the problem. Actually, a poker player, if he wins over time, etc., and does it, is a company in Germany. I might be wrong with the words here because I like correct German words, but I take it just that way. Poker player is a company, and there have been actually new laws for companies that they cannot how to take it, how to say that they take winnings from Germany and put them in one equation with losses that they will not.
So you were just cutting out. They're taking the losses from,
like, let's say Apple, whatever. They are making shitloads of money in Germany.
Yeah.
But they start a market somewhere in, let's say, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Right. And they are building a business there. They have to invest first. So now what they did, or like, this is all, I have no clue. Like, this is just second, third hand information. But what's possible now, or is that they just say overall, hey, we did not make any winnings. We made like 10 billion in Germany, but we invested 10 billion somewhere else. So we have a zero here. So why should we pay taxes? So that there has been a new law. This is how I understood it, where it said this is not possible anymore. And being said that poker players are a company, that law might work for us as well. And it might be a difference for me whether I swap or have shares in a player who lives in the EU, or a player who lives in the US, or a player from Russia, where it's like, I really don't want to start that topic. If it's like, okay, I can put like all my swaps and shares with Dominic Nietzsche, with Reiner, with Fedor, I can put them in one equation because it's all EU.
Yeah.
Or probably Dom not, because he is in Great Britain. Might be, I don't know. But I cannot swap or do anything with David Peters and Mikita. Right? That would be like a different part, and I cannot, whatever verrechnen means in English. Right?
Whoever doesn't know, just Google it.
Yeah. This is just the big trouble that I want to stay out of.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the first and easy decision. Like,
yeah, based on my knowledge, and this is of course very individual, since when I ask for advice, it's based on my individual situation. So you guys, whoever considers going pro and wants to move in a certain country, you have to take this money in your hand and invest it in a proper tax advisor or lawyer that can give you advice for your specific situation, because it depends on so many factors. Which country, and in Germany, it's even depending on the state you're living in. It might be treated completely different in Berlin from the tax authorities than it is in North Rhine-Westphalia, right? And we have seen cases where the tax authorities see it a little bit more loosey-goosey, and in others they actually see it very, very strict. And so do your own research, and it depends on so many different factors. One advice I can give you is choose your advisor wisely. I have seen so many poker players just wasting thousands and thousands of dollars for nothing. If your tax advisor cannot give you, is not, because what they really love to do is, yeah, it depends. So you pay them $1,000 for some sort of certificate or statement about the situation, because you have to distinguish between the tax law and the regular law, that you don't want to get in trouble with the law. So the first thing you want to do is that you're not getting in any kind of criminal records, or you're getting sued for avoiding taxes, right? And the first thing you want to do is to do your own research and to get feedback from a tax advisor that tells you, that gives you the feedback, all right, poker is not taxable for your situation, then at least if the tax authorities are approaching you, you can say, hey, I was doing my research, I tried to investigate, I got this feedback from a tax advisor, he told me it's not a guarantee that poker is not taxable, but at least they cannot sue you. You cannot go into prison, or they cannot press charges against you. However, they can still say, we see it different, you have to pay taxes. If you don't do your research and you say, I didn't know, this doesn't count. Because it's your responsibility, it's your duty to do that research on your own by approaching a tax advisor or approaching the tax authorities and asking, hey, in my situation, I acquired this XYZ amount of money. Am I taxable? So here's the thing. And of course, tax advisors and lawyers don't love to commit, because then they kind of take over the liability. They love putting the liability on you. So sometimes you pay $1,000, $2,000 for a statement, and then they tell you, yes, we're going to look into your case and we're going to do all the research, and then we will give you an answer whether you're taxable or not. And at the end, what you get is, so Mr. Müller, we investigated, then pages of elaboration. At the end, it says, it really depends. And you're like, what the fuck? So, of course, because they know that if the tax authorities are approaching you, you could show them that email, and then essentially they're liable for their own statements. And so you need to find someone who can give you a clear answer. And if they can't, at least being honest that they will tell you even before or throughout the process that, hey, we can't really give you a 100% accurate answer, then at least you're not wasting your money. I've seen it for myself here with tax advisors in Vienna. There was one guy, dude, I'm telling you, I went there, so I was discussing my entire situation with him, and then he said, okay, the first step, we have to send an email to the tax authorities, make them aware that you're here, getting a tax number for you, a tax ID. I said, all right, fine, let's do that. Of course, with my German diligence, I asked him, how much does it cost? And he's like, yeah, 1,000. I'm like, 1,000? Why? Like, isn't it just sending one document to the tax authority? Yeah, it 3 hours, 4 or 5 hours. I have to write some stuff down. Like, very shady explanation. And they actually have a very good reputation. Then I called my friend in Germany who is a lawyer. I asked him, like, how much time does it need to send a document to the tax authorities to request a tax ID? He said a couple of minutes. It's like a standardized document. You just exchange the data and then you send it out. And I was I
gotta interrupt there. I actually, I had that trouble as well. And the solution that no one could tell me, but after like 1 or 2, what I needed to do was I could just call them by myself.
Yeah.
They gave me to the next guy, and I was like, hey, yeah, sure, we have you after your after you signing up for Vienna, we have you here in the system. Your tax number is XYZ, right? And it took me 10 minutes on the phone to get to a super nice lady just giving me what I wanted to know. It was insane.
So you also want to find someone who doesn't make things more complicated as they are. And they also have an economical interest. Like, to me, if a tax advisor or lawyer, you are their clients. So they should also look after, tell you, hey, listen, you can do that on yourself. It might take 20, 30 minutes. We can do that for you, but then it costs XYZ amount of money. And this is, most lawyers and tax advisors, they make money because there's a problem. So they love making problems so they can earn money. So I know we think that tax advisors and lawyers, they're like, oh, they know everything and they have all the, the best interest for you, but they don't. Most of them, they just want to make money. And they're also totally aware of that there's a lack of lawyers that understand poker or gambling. There are not many. So scarcity leads to demanding high prices and fucking you over, because where else can you go, right? So there you have to grind, you have to find a good lawyer, go to, usually the first consultation call or consultation meetings are for free. go with your gut. If you have the feeling they try to fuck you over, go to the next one. Don't fall into the fallacy that we put these advisors on a pedestal and think, oh, they're like godlike human beings. They know everything. They're lawyers. They act according to law, so they're never gonna fuck me over. But that's simply not the true in reality. I've talked to so many lawyers, and by now I went through the grind. I got to know some very good lawyers that really fight for you and they have the interest for you. And they're telling you, from their own experience, from colleagues, there are a lot of black sheeps out there. Little rant here. Let's move on. But I think it's a very important topic that you choose your advisor carefully. 2020. What are your plans? You just stick with a cash game grind? Any live stops planned? I mean, unfortunately now with the coronavirus situation, we have to kind of.
Just wanted to say I had some plans. Like, let's just talk about the near future. I booked tickets for the Adler Mannheim playoff match. The next day they canceled the whole playoffs.
Ice hockey?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They canceled the whole playoffs, and there won't be a okay.
Yeah.
Fucked. Then I booked a little ski vacation with some friends in Ischgl. The next day they said, okay, Ischgl is closed for 2 weeks. The next day they said, okay, Ischgl is closed for the year. That's it. So that was a plan right now. I was really looking forward to my first European summer without going to Vegas. And I got tickets for the UEFA Europe, like the Euros.
Europe League.
So
You mean the Champions League or the?
No, the Euros, just the Europameisterschaft.
The Euro League.
No, not Euro League. Euro League is.
It's 2020. The summer is gonna be
maybe and now it's like the talk. There will be a big meeting on Tuesday whether they will postpone it for 1 year, because now all the seasons are stopped and they might need more time, and there's no summer gap where the Euros can take place. Right? For example, I got tickets for both the semifinals in Wembley.
Ooh.
And
how did you?
Was something I never visited stuff like that, and I love it so much. So I actually
who did you?
Did that too. I watched pretty much all Instagram stories of Patrick Leonard 2018 when he traveled through Russia, and I was like, why didn't I ever do that? This is just my world, right? This is what I love so much.
Being drunk in a football stadium. No, it's fun. It's fun. I have to say, yeah, it's fun, of course.
So I tried to get some of the tickets. I got some, and now I guess it won't take place, but let's see. And until then.
How did you get the tickets, man?
There is like a lot. You have to sign up in July or August last year, and you sign up for pretty much a lottery to get you win the right to buy the tickets. Obviously, you have to pay them, and they are super expensive. But
you won the lottery.
I signed up for like 9 matches, and I got tickets for 4. So I must have been super lucky. Our buddy Korai, 3 matches, 0.
Sorry, he applied for how many?
9. I signed up for 9.
No. Korai signed up for how many?
For 30.
He signed up for 30. And how many did he get?
He signed up for every single match, but those in Azerbaijan.
And how many did he get?
0.
Okay, you were cutting out. I could hear you talking, but sometimes
he's maybe now learning mixed games and trying to go for, I don't know, for winning everything in Vegas if that takes place. But he was so pissed.
You're a goddamn sunrunner. 50%, almost 50%, right? Yeah.
And I mean, I got that for the group matches. One in Munich, Germany versus Portugal. I got that. Then a round of 16 in Amsterdam, and the 2 semifinals in London. Which
semifinals up.
It's like pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see. And
but you can't.
That.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Besides that, my plan is pretty much just to start a regular life here. Pretty much now here in that flat. Like, I still need some stuff. I'm grinding so much right now. I'm on a good way of catching up with like the really good cash game players to maybe be able to play even a little higher, and then to get into more that smooth normal life. I told you already, I'm injured right now. That pisses me off because after the grind I needed so much to do some sports, just 3 times, 4 times a week. And I have so many options here, but so far I cannot do anything. Like I went for a run now twice, it's like 5-6 weeks after I got injured now, and it's like getting better now. I can start going for a run, but I cannot play football or anything right now. So this will take some more weeks. And it's just like I want to get in that. Right? My hometown is 1 hour away, where my buddies. I'm still sometimes playing for them with them in the team.
Yeah.
And
hope you get
this is pretty much my short-term goals to get in that state that I want to be in again. I'm so out of shape, it's insane.
You will get there. You're a very active guy, and once you're over the injury, it's part of the life, man. You can focus
on
more
at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
But not a big deal in reality.
I know. So, you were talking about grinding a lot of Zoom, doing your review. How does your study routine look like, and what do you think? How would you consider an efficient study routine, maybe as an advice also for everyone that is watching?
It's a good question, obviously, and after talking to so many people or working with so many people together, I got to the conclusion pretty much that it is different for everyone else. So for myself, right now we are living in the poker solver world these days, and especially for cash games where the same spot occurs over and over again, it's obviously very, very helpful tool. And lots of people they run like spots, they try to take something away from it. The good old saying like, oh, I did content for 4 hours. Like people say stuff like that, and like, what does that mean? For me, solver work is nothing else but asking a question. So not using a solver when I don't have a question. Right? It's not like I run a spot, I look at it, and then I think I'm a genius. It's not about copying what it tells you. It's about this is why I solve pretty much everything I played and I was unsure about. So this is one golden rule I have. I'm never starting before reviewing the last one. So really every session I play gets reviewed, and I use it a lot for just like, I have a question, if that too thin of a value, which sizing does the solver prefer in this and that spot? How does it change things? What if villain, like it can be a different question. If villain deviates the way I think he deviates, what is my perfect answer to that? Etc. So I have this I have the flow of grinding, taking a break, solving, reviewing, taking notes, grinding again, and the same thing starts over and over again. And at the other time, I always have like one spot I'm working at. It's like the non-flow. Like I have that topic pretty much I'm working on that I like not really regularly. It's not like every morning, first hour. It's like whenever I feel like, okay, tables are not good. I have like that can be just like small blind versus button, 3-bet pot simplifications for like range betting or large, like what is my plan on certain boards. And it can be another topic I had lately was just like ace Broadway exports, sing raise pot in position. When do I want to range bet with a small bet? When do I use those large bets that make lots of sense? Let's say when villain big blind defense does not have the top 2 pair, right? It's like button versus big blinds. It's a huge thing to just overbet the pot on ace king 5. How is that? Just like my like topic was, how is that different for under the gun versus big blind? What is it when I change the ace king 5 to an ace queen 5 for certain positions? Is it really about villain having that top 2 pair or something else?
Yeah.
What is it when it's like ace jack 5? So you see already like what I'm talking about is like questions I came up with. And then I can use the solver to find the answers, right? Instead of like really digging deep and thinking, like making some theory to get to a solution myself. This is where it's so helpful and by far the best tool I've ever worked with poker-wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one big advice. Always ask a question, because if there is no question, the solver cannot give you an answer.
I think the the advice about changing the parameters. So let's say you change the position or you change one card. Makes a lot of sense. And this is the same. I, for example, study short stack. So when I'm in an ICM situation, how does my range change when I have 2 big blinds more, 2 big blinds less? What happens if instead of the other shorty having 5 big blinds, he has 10 big blinds? How does my range change then? Because the spot that you're actually looking in will never happen exactly the same, right?
Right.
So it will happen a similar spot. So what you have to learn, apart from asking a question, which basically we follow the same principle, is how to recognize patterns. You want to be able to recognize patterns that you then can apply, because when you understand the difference between, let's say, your shoving range with 8 big blinds and 12 big blinds, you'll be able, based on that pattern, to also not 100% accurate, but somewhat get a decent range for 9 big blinds or 14 big blinds, because you see that difference. I always say, for example, the way I study preflop ranges, if I know my under the gun range and if I know my button range, you will kind of have an idea what to play from middle position, right? Yeah. But if you only focus on button and you're like, oh, now I know button, and then next time you're going to be in EP, this is now a very, very, very hardcore simplification. How do you know what to play from EP? So you need these 2 orientation points, and you can take it further. You can add a 3rd, 4th, or 5th orientation point, and you can change so many parameters. And also in the course, I'm always telling people make a 360 degree analysis to basically analyze from different angles and different perspectives. So yeah, I really like your approach. And how much you would consider your study to play ratio?
That's tough. I guess right now it's like 2-1.
Playing, studying?
Play 2, study 1. Like 1 hour session takes kind of intense.
It's quite a lot of studying. I didn't expect that, to be honest. Yeah. So as you can see, everyone is watching. That's
what I said before. Right now, I feel like I'm catching up and I'm working my work ethic, whatever you want to call it, heavy on the theory side.
Yeah.
So I want to get back into that state where I can cut off a little of the theory, because I feel like I'm in a good state and I just need to pretty much you always need to improve. Right now I feel like I need to catch up a little, and then I want to get into that state that I might have had 250 we were grinding hard in Brighton, where I feel like anybody let's go and play, right?
Yeah.
There it was more like a thing of bankroll the stakes and playing maybe 5k, sometimes 10k, instead of I'm really thinking those players are better, right? It's a very different thing. And coming back to the work, what you pointed out is really good. And really this, how do things change if I make something a little bit different? And then for other cases, which is really good, is I like to go for really the maximum thing. Look at what could be, I make an example, tough to explain, right? So it's how does my strategy change on, I'm single raise pot in position when villain is not check raising enough, right? He should be check raising 15%. He's probably check raising 10%. First thing I'm running in the solver is I don't allow villain to check raise. I really this maximum thing to see okay, what effect does it have for which parts of my range? And I can tell you, for one example, we are deep, flop is 9-5 deuce rainbow, button versus big blind. When villain is check raising infinite, and he should be check raising a lot versus a small sizing here, it's not a big EV difference whether I bet my jacks large or small, right? Or tens, right? That's a hand that is nuts right now pretty much. Villain does not have offsuit 2 pairs on 9-5 deuce, etc. It's nuts right now, but it won't be nuts over time. Any turn card decreases the value of my jack. So they want to get money in the middle right now. If I go for the maximum extreme thing and I don't allow villain to check raise, well, the one thing you see is jacks clearly want to overbet, because it's about getting money in right now, because there are more turn cards that will improve villain's range. Just against my hand. But this is something you can really easily learn, and then it's okay, the spot, maybe he should be check raising, I don't know, 15%. this guy has overall check raise 8. So everything I know is he is like not check raising enough. So I need that big sizing. That's something I took away from there. And it's like really the question I ask the solver works way better like that if it's a really clear question. Like he doesn't check raise. What do I do? Yeah. Instead of, I'd note lock him check raising 11 instead of 15%. And then it's like a whole mixed bullshit show again, what the PO shows us all the time. So, and you won't learn a shit. So how to change things when we make something a little different, or if I want to exploit something, maybe just exaggerate, like go crazy. If that bad, in which direction would my range change? And then you got to decide how much you want to go down that path.
That's a good point. That's something I barely do, that going that extreme, of course. But I always try to look into the response, because you also have the short stick situations, and hopefully later on in the review, I think we're also going to have a similar spot where on paired boards, you're with 20, 25 big blinds, you're supposed to check raise almost your entire range. It's like 20 to 30% check raising frequency. And of course, if that doesn't happen, it changes our in position c-betting strategy enormously. And so I then
we both agree on that, and it's all coming back. Don't solve a spot and try to learn it by heart. This spot won't ever happen again. You need it to understand why things work the way they work, and then to apply the concepts you learned about for any kind of similar spots, or even very different spots. Sometimes there are spots that look so different but have so many things in common.
Yeah. There was someone asking on Twitter that very well correlates on the topic that we're currently talking about. He said, what do you think of Charlie Carroll's take on poker around the whole exploitative fuck GTO live read stuff?
Well, what I think is that he means exactly what we are talking about right now. He just speaks it out in a way that you could use it as a headline, right?
Yeah.
So it's really this, what we say is not fuck GTO, right? We say you can use GTO, or what GTO shows you, pretty much GTO being a term for the PO solve here, and learn from it to then have better answers to like the very certain villains you're playing against. But it can help you understand. But in no way you should, if you need to play GTO on the table, you are sitting in the very wrong game. Right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
This is what I feel like. Okay, when do I try to play GTO? It's always when I'm the underdog. If I think, okay, fuck this, there's a huge whale right now. This is why I play 5K, and I need to play Linus Love and who else is good. I don't care. I need to play Linus Love, and I don't want to call out a country and a real-time solver bomb. Right? Yeah. This is the moment I will try heads up against those. I think about what could be close to GTO and try to perform that, because I know if I go down another path, they will win it.
Yeah.
So, but against this is a game I can be in because of the big whale I mentioned. But any other game, it's like you should. I think I've seen in a video or even of yours where you said like, you pretty much never ever want to randomize, right? This is pretty much randomizer is a similar or a tool used for GTO, right?
Yeah.
Like you can use it for pre-flop ranges, maybe deep, because you just want to start with a certain range to then play.
Even pre-flop, I have to jump in here. Like there's always a situation where even though it's just a nuance that can lead you to calling or 3-betting. If I see someone sitting behind, and very often it's in those situations when we're hijack, cutoff, middle position, we have a hand that kind of as good as 3-betting, but also so as well as flatting, and I see 3-4 very good racks, I don't need to randomize, even though the theory says we should randomize, because I'm in this very situation, and they're not going to exploit that. I want to more often 3-bet my queen 10 or king 10 suited. But when there's one very big whale in the blinds, I'm going to be flatting like even king 8 suited, and that's where it gets very dangerous to start randomizing, even pre-flop. I think
often an excuse for something, right? I was more talking, okay, I play Zoom 500. Rex.
Can you repeat that last sentence, please?
Yeah, I'm playing Zoom 500, and well, sometimes there is no fish at the table. We are playing, let's say, and it's really good players, and then I take my preset ranges to know I'm doing fine, right?
Yeah.
Then against those, it should be same EV. Obviously, we can try to find something, but if there is really not, there should always be anything. But there I can just use it for having the pre-solved ranges for post-flop, right? Then I can feel good about it, and if then the randomizer is pretty much just a tool to feel good about my range in any spot. But if you're playing tournaments, this is a totally different thing, because there's, as you said, always a reason. And post-flop, there is always a reason to do one or another, right? It's
it's really the last resort when, let's say, I play against in tournaments. I mean, I don't play against the cash game guys. Let's say I play against European. Let's say I'm in a lineup where I'm button in the blinds. There's Pets and European, and I know they play very close or try to play very close to GTO as well if they face similar strong opponents. Then I might also consider randomizing. But even then, there's dynamics. They're also human beings. They might perceive me in a certain way. I don't know. It's literally 99.8% of the cases you don't need to randomize.
I really have kind of a line that you can move up, and maybe at the very, very end there is the randomizer.
Yeah.
At first you can have a certain read. You played hands with that guy. You know whether he's over bluffing or under bluffing.
Yeah.
Okay, you might not have that. Then you have a population tendency, right? Okay, I play this game over and over again. I know that the new game you're playing in, this guy doesn't fit into the population tendency. Then you have maybe the nation read, right? You know where this guy comes from, which, well, you have information. And even let's say there are no countries shown on party poker anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't have that. Well, then you at least have the information. This is a guy who plays this $215 tournament, which is agreed already. And you always know some. It's not like a guy who is walking down the street. It's this guy who signed up for this $215 tournament, and this can be read. And then if even this does not help you with anything, and you have an idea, well, maybe then you just stick to kind of GTO whatever, right? But it's really the last resort.
Yeah. Yeah, but people like to be lazy and finding excuses, to find the most comfortable play. It's it's a great excuse. Yeah. Well, you have no clue whether you should be catching. Yeah, I randomized. It's a catcher. Yeah.
Okay, I was unlucky. Okay. We can move on there, right? How discuss the hand then?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I feel like I'm preaching that way too often, but I feel like so many people still don't understand it. We
did not have randomizers back then, right? That's the thing.
I mean, okay, yeah.
Here. Here's the randomizer. Yeah. Sometimes you just know. Sometimes you just feel like fucking calling even.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah. I wanna move out. I want to move away. Not necessarily move away from poker, but you always also strike me as someone that, as we just have seen, that is very curious, very open, and you need to be open. You need to be able to let go of your ego and understand, okay, this is something I need to learn. Here I need to get better in poker. But if we move a little bit away from poker and everything that is going on in your life right now, business, relationships, life, whatever it is, what are you curious about right now? Is this something that you're learning or you're getting into? Any projects? What is happening?
Oh, actually, not too much that it comes up to.
Just pure poker grind right now?
Sorry?
Just pure poker grind right now?
Yeah, it's really, I don't know, I didn't think that. I was always, let's say, we traveled 1 year back in time, right? Yeah. I had that feeling, well, I'm a little over that tournament grind. I feel like, well, the main thing is that I felt this is not my world, right? I had several talks with players, in that high roller tournament industry, where I figured out, well, they are made for that, right? Talking at a bar with Nick Petrangelo, and he says like, I want to be travel the world and play this card game that I love so much. Yeah, I'm like, I don't like being in the casino all the time and be like, well, usually the people that are around me in those high roller tournaments is not really my crew, if you know what I mean, right? It's like, they are super interesting people, and I love talking to lots of them, but it's like 90% of them wouldn't ever qualify to like being like real friends. Pretty much, because it's just like so different backgrounds, etc. Like there are people, I mean, those people that live in Vegas for 10 years and they just love it there, I will always hate it, right? It's like just, yeah, it's great and cool, like, and I don't want to complain, like, don't get me wrong there, to travel the world and go to the Bahamas, go to Melbourne, everything, but it's like, you know, when that feeling grows in you that it's like not your thing.
And
I even in like interviews, let's say 5 years ago, or I found that actually, I think maybe last year, an old blog post I wrote in 2015, I guess, where I wrote like, I think I'm kind of over that poker.
You were kind of over what?
Over that poker thing. Like I did a Supernova Elite twice, or maybe it was 2016. Been in Vegas for the first or second time. I was like, that was when the Stars rakeback system got screwed, and like I wasn't playing the live high rollers back then, and then I was like playing so much cash for that SNE, and I was like, it's the same over and over again, nothing, no new input. It's just like, yeah, I don't like to do the same over and over again. Then I did something else, like through Fedor and the guys, and like getting into there, and I caught fire for that, and that was a little over now, and I didn't expect it. I was always thinking, okay, I'm just waiting, or I need to seek out for something that I love as much as I did love poker at some point. To go for that. I just never found something so far. So I signed up for that. I don't know whether sports entrepreneurship bootcamp in Hoffenheim, done by MIT, like to meet like-minded people, to be like somewhere to pretty much even prove value in kind of the real world, right? It's like super successful business people in there, or like young entrepreneur guys, where it's like, it was super interesting. And it's like still people like ask me, what did you take away from it? Now it was just great, right? And but it's not like, okay, now I have great ideas and I start doing stuff. And
how was it?
It was like so intense, right? It was I don't know, we started every day at 8 in the morning and we left the arena at like after midnight.
What was it about? Because not everyone might know. It's
like you can Google that. It's MIT Bootcamp. They have a big homepage, and this was their first sports entrepreneurship bootcamp
in Germany.
They did it in Germany. They did it together with the DFL, Deutsche Fußballliga, and with the TSG Hoffenheim, a German club which is playing in the first division. And we have been there in the arena, and had like there have been like one or two professors from the MIT, professors from a WHU, is like a German business and sports and everything like university, and they had like speakers from the sports world, like the Christian Seifert, if you know him, for example, like the CEO of German Bundesliga, pretty much. And they like talk. We had like so many talks about just like what sports world, in the sports industry, examples of like entrepreneurs, and then we had like groups and had to pretty much start over like our own company, right? And like going through the way of like how to get from start was always a problem, right? How to first find a problem and then get to kind of a solution, or like get there, and how to, it's more about the whole approach, right? How to collaborate, how to I don't know, it's tough right now, right? So just check out the website, and there are some nice videos. They posted a nice one just yesterday, a new one that just like summarizes the whole thing, and I made it in the video. in second 13, where I shoot the ball and you just see my legs. That was in one of the breaks. They chose me as their soccer example, so I felt pretty proud.
You made it.
I wrote to Julian yesterday. Actually, I finally made it, being a star on TV playing football.
How is it called? If people want to Google it, say it again, please.
Just search for MIT Bootcamp, I guess.
Bootcamp in which city?
Hoffenheim.
All right, I check it out.
MIT Bootcamp Hoffenheim.
But unfortunately,
I find the German stuff right now, but
that didn't spark any inspiration for entrepreneurial projects or something outside of poker that you would like to tackle next.
Not really. Not like something that comes like gave me or still gives me the great feeling that it like I did not feel at all like some kind of an underdog. That feeling like, okay, they have been in kind of a business for 10 years now. They are 30 years old as well. And I was playing poker. I had my own business, if you want to take it that way.
Yeah.
But felt like it was more the other way around. Like that, my sport was super interesting for lots of those people, right?
Yeah.
We had former Olympian athletes as well that went there, and like I was kind of in that part, right? They've seen me as kind of an athlete who made it in some kind of sports at least, and that was super interesting and just like pushes self-confidence and like if there is something that comes up, I just feel super ready and prepared and good about starting something.
Yeah. Oh, I was checking or following you on when you posted that on social media, and definitely looked very interesting. How's the streaming going on? Any streams planned in the near future?
Well, I'm actually writing Stefan right now, so about the streaming, as most of the people knew, or they followed it, that I was like streaming for 1 week straight, I guess, in October.
Okay.
Like I did the occasional streams for No Limit Gaming, as I promised them, just to help out my buddy Stefan, and to get some numbers in, and I kind of enjoyed it. So I thought, okay, I was not really sure what I wanted to do when I moved back to Germany in 2020. So I want to try that as well. Right? I met so many people who just said, just try it. Right? I talked to Bulero and All In Path and like those guys. Like, right, just try it. And I felt like I did an okay or good job, and people liked it. But it's about how much I like it. Right?
Yeah.
It's like the occasional stream, I love it, and I think I will keep doing that. But the really going hard for it or making that really part of my job right now cannot be a thing for me, because I think I would clearly need to give up on lots of EV right now. Coming back to the business side of things, right? I need to make money as well, and to make it to make that right. Most of the streamers are more players nowadays, and I'm not one of those. And it's just like cannot be part of my life. The way the streaming works, that you need to put so many hours in, and you need to have like, let's say, at least 3 days a week or something that people can rely on. Thursday, Friday night, it's GoOse stream or whatever, right? And I cannot commit to that, like the way I want to live life. So I thought about doing like some streaming in the mornings, like Inner Psy is doing a Russian stream right now, like pretty much every morning or most of them. That I play, and he has kind of good numbers, and to make it a good business decision, I would need like, I don't know, support by a poker site or something, but that's not something I'm like looking for. It's really I want to choose life first, like really live the life I want to live, and there's like lots of freedom involved, and like a streaming schedule cannot leave me the free, like if I want to do it for real, cannot give me the freedom I want to have. So the occasional streams, I will come back. Now I just had lots of like stressful stuff, like changing setups, moving places, etc. So I just didn't feel like putting a stream in between. But there will be one maybe soon. maybe sooner, maybe later. Let's read Stefan. I was just writing with Stefan whether I can fire up another NLG stream soon.
It seems to me that you have figured out what you want at the moment.
It's like, yeah, like it's like every time I feel that myself, I feel like I don't feel that way because there's so many open questions in my head. But when I start talking to like, or having that podcast right now, like talking to other smart people, I feel like it just comes naturally that I kind of or I feel like I shifted priorities in life a little, like that. I'm not that 20-year-old that fell into that poker world and I have no clue what I want to do with my life. So I try to maximize profit first and be someone in that world that I fell into.
Yeah.
And right now it's more like, I mean, I'm 29. I know more or less what I want to have from life. And like I try, like this is pretty much the goal I have, like I see. And as soon as you have a goal, well, it's easy to work towards it.
Yeah. How do you, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. I had nothing.
How do you define happiness and success for yourself, especially now since you acquired a certain level of financial freedom and you're considered, I would say, as one of the most successful poker players now in the last couple of years, and especially from the standpoint of your perception or expectation of making money and reaching that level of happiness, or is there a correlation with the money that you acquired of reaching a certain level of happiness, or is there more than that for you? I really want to approach it from that standpoint of, okay, you reach that level, would you say, oh, now I'm super happy, or is there more than that?
I mean, it's always to speak if you have a certain like level or financial freedom to. Right?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Those people,
can you repeat that, please? Can you repeat that, please?
Everyone who kind of has or has reached a level where, like, yes, I wouldn't say financial. I don't have like anything I have to worry about.
Yeah.
So those people, they speak so often about, well, money doesn't make you happy, and all those people like to have more money. And well, I don't want to just like be part of that whole group, because obviously for me safety is just a big thing for me. I would put it not in the money way only. For me, it's more about over time realizing what is important for you in life and reaching parts of those goals. This is what makes you happy, and you learn over time the stuff that's like different for everyone probably, and comes maybe naturally or through your surroundings, what makes you happy in life. And I found out more and more. So let's talk about that money part first. For me, it's not, I, for example, figured out right now, or over the last years, I don't need to get super rich. Like this is not the lifestyle I want to live. I want to, like, one day I want to have a family, live like somewhere not in the city, can have 2-3 kids, a dog, and I'm the happiest person in the world. And for that, I don't need to have 5 million or 10 million. There are other people that are just like success driven, right? I want to move the world. I want to do this and that, and this makes me happy, like success in that part.
Yeah.
And for them, it's different, right? They need to go for that if it comes naturally for them. Like, its priorities are different, and this is something. Like I gave you that example of like the 20-year-old Stefan that fell into that poker world. First thing was like, oh, I want to be somewhere in there. But it was not about the money. That was like play money. It was like a video game. I want to get the high score up, pretty much. I want to move up the freaking stakes. I want to get to the next level. That was my goal back then. And that was, for example, one that I reached, right? The tournament-wise, I could play the freaking highest tournament that was, because people believed in me and were ready to invest that money. And that is kind of fulfilling in that part, because it told me I kind of reached the goal I was after over years, and I put lots of effort into it.
Yeah.
Right now I kind of set new goals there poker wise, and that you strive for. And the other part, just like realizing over time, what makes you happy is like, I learned the most about myself in those times where I wasn't happy. And then thinking about why was that the case? I always have one time of my life in mind that was pretty much the moment I wanted to move to Brighton. We moved there in October to 14, and I couldn't move with you because I was injured.
Yeah.
And I have that I always need like small parts of success in my life. Like and there it was like I couldn't do any sports. That meant, what else do? I couldn't move, like my. So I only played poker, and I was in a huge downswing back then in November, just like I kept losing. And the only option I had was to keep playing and losing, and I had that bad feeling. And then I thought like, okay, what's actually the problem? Like I still like playing, but what's the problem? I did not have those small moments of success that I somehow need. Before, when I was in school or I was younger, if I thought about it, that was the same thing, right? But I always had like so many different stuff I was doing that I had my successes, right? Or let's say uni time. If uni was not going well, I was playing soccer with my friends on the weekend, and we kept winning. We had like we finished second in that year in the league, so we were pretty much winning every match, right? So there were like those small moments. Or I did other sports as well. Or if sports did not go well, maybe I had good grades in uni, or had like good time with my friends, or like those small things where I figured out for myself, I cannot do one thing, like coming back to what Fedor said there, 24/7 for 5. Like if variance is involved, I will be unhappy.
Yeah.
Right now it's like I'm a little pissed that I cannot do sports, but poker is going well, so I'm happy. Right?
Yeah.
The relationship is going well. It's like, okay, relationships, sometimes you have some trouble. Then I lock myself in my room and play poker. Or I just go out to my boys and play soccer, and I come back and it's all fine.
Yeah.
It's like those small things, and this is what I mean, everyone needs to realize for himself. Everyone's so different there. And but this is pretty much my take on it. What I like found out about myself a little.
Yeah. If you compare yourself with, let's say, 10 years ago, the young 20-year-old Stefan, I'm going to conquer the poker world, with the 27, 28, 29-year-old Stefan, at which time were you thinking more about what you want in life and what makes you happy? Like, was it with 20 that you were thinking more about this in an also more deeper way? Or was it actually once you acquired this financial security to a certain degree and financial freedom?
I mean, it's definitely the later part, but I wouldn't call it the reaching financial freedom or
like financial security or...
Yeah, no, but this was not the trigger. Was reaching the goals you were looking for. And like as the 20-year-old Stefan, like the goals were not reaching financial freedom. That's like, oh cool, making money is nice, obviously, right? But the goal was, and this is was what kept me going, is reaching the next level, the highest levels. And this is pretty much what I would call the point where you start, okay, like you feel like there's like reaching that goal has definitely a negative effect because you lose the fire you had for it. Or this was at least for me, right? It's like that stupid saying of like, it's easy to reach the top, but it's tough to stay there, right? It's just because, you reached your goal that was like, I mean, I was always goal driven. I wanted to get there. You know it yourself, how I kept grinding those 50.
Yeah.
It's more like, I want that freaking graph, and it's like, need to get to the next level, and to get to the next level, I need a certain bankroll, etc. So I needed to keep grinding. I think Supernova Elite back then was one of the best things for me because it set goals like by itself, and it were volumes goals and not like money goals or anything. And yeah, so this is the part where I started thinking more about life. Before I was more like goal driven. I'm like happy to try everything out. Like, I mean, the way we moved there, I just finished university. Oh, let's move to England. Yeah, sure. Why not? Right? let's see, maybe I like it there. Then, oh, Vienna seems cool. Let's move there. Probably cooler than Brighton. Okay. And now then over time, or like especially when losing fire for that, plus, well, getting older, obviously, but it's more about your surrounding getting older as well. I think your surrounding always influences you. It's not like I'm not around lots of other 20-year-olds that just want to make it poker anymore. That was a different setting back then, and it's more like, okay, friends now like starting real lives, people like getting, I don't know how much weddings I got invited. It's not about that. It's like I feel the pressure that I need to start a family or anything now. No, it's just kind of comes naturally that like interests shift a little. I don't have the goal to now be the best cash game player in the world. No, I have the goal of reaching a certain level to live the lifestyle I live and make kind of a good money by doing that and enjoying the game at the same time, right? I won't put 10 hours. I won't study the whole night. I won't do it, right?
Yeah.
I want to use my experience and kind of my, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm kind of smart with it. Might sound arrogant, but I want to use make a good living for my family and myself. That's pretty much, I hope that answers the question.
100%. Because I find it very interesting, and it's a repetitive pattern over and over again. It's where I really enjoy, and I think it's also very valuable for everyone that is listening to pick up the brain of someone who went through the process from, okay, I set myself a goal, and after 3 to 10 years, whatever, I achieved this goal, whether it is something competitive, it's a business, of course, as a side effect, also acquiring this financial security to a certain degree. And it's interesting because so many people actually that achieve something and they make a certain amount of money, they get miserable. They don't feel that level of happiness that they actually connected with reaching that very goal. And to me, it's kind of obvious because once you reach that level, and I felt this for myself a couple of years ago when I reached everything in certain goals and I made a lot of money, but I wasn't happy. But then I realized, okay, now it's time to put in the it's time to put in the time and think about what you truly want in life, because then it actually starts, because then you have a little bit more pressure off your shoulder, because as a man we're competitive, we want to achieve something, and when we kind of prove that to ourselves and we have a little bit more peace in our mind, whatever it is, it's your fucking responsibility to also then think about what you want in life. Because so many people rely on, okay, once I achieve this goal, I also achieve happiness. But that's not true. Actually, then it starts, because that's why I asked this question. I wanted to know that from you as well, whether it was the same for you. I'm not saying it is for everybody, but I can see a pattern that it matches for a lot of people, that actually after you made that shit ton of money, after you reached your goal, then you have to put in the time to figure out for yourself what you want. Right?
Yeah, and it's mainly those people that think like, okay, as soon as you reach your goal, you are in a, I don't know, kind of a state of happiness, and it's just pretty much the other way around. It's more like, it's like session is over, pretty much. Like this is done, what's next? And people suffer from not knowing what's next, right? It's like, gives you a lot, knowing what you want to do, knowing where you get, and being on the right way.
Yeah.
Like the moment you started talking, I kind of had that, I don't know whether it's a good picture, I had that in mind, a football match. When I think about, okay, you have like, let's say a derby, like a really important, right, football match, and you're going to play. If I think about what are the best moments, is for me, one of the best moments is always when the team comes together before going out on the pitch, right?
Yeah.
You feel the energy. People are thrilled about it. People are like, they want to do it now, and they just like, there is that aura around it, I feel like. And then the other best moments, okay, are obviously scoring a goal, but I would put it more like into like getting closer to like the goal. Like I clearly don't feel the best. Might be different for others, but as soon as it's over, right? Okay, 3-2 victory was a sick match. For me, the best moment is over already, right? It's not the party afterwards. It's not like, oh, we celebrate now, we crushed them. No, like the best moments they're just behind. And this is kind of, I don't know, I kind of like the picture. So it's like, I feel the same way with lots of stuff.
Yeah, it kind of is actually funny that how intense it can be. And I used to play football myself, so I can definitely relate to it. And especially, I think the best part is when you are right before achieving. You see it's possible. It's like, I put in so much work.
How many more minutes?
How many more minutes? We're about to win. Fuck, that's going to be awesome. Let's give 110%. Then the match is over. I would say for a couple of minutes, maybe for an hour, you're celebrating. It's still awesome, but it fades away super fast. And the same was for me when I achieved the success in tournaments or sit and go poker, that it was always right before. Like I remember the 100K. I said, "Fuck, I'm in heads up. I'm playing now against Fedor. Fuck, it's awesome." Then I won it, but actually the day after, it's like, yeah, okay, it's awesome, but you kind of have to move on. You need to then start the next thing. I'm not saying never take your time off and celebrate. You should definitely celebrate. You should take your time. You should appreciate that, but then also not connect the ultimate level of happiness to one very occasion where you achieve something great. Usually it fades away very fast.
The big thing is don't expect to be like, this is pretty much like why people often, or I feel like, at least in the poker world, get kind of sad. I mean, I had that talk with Fedor as well. After winning everything, he thought like he would be happy. And it was in Rosvedov in the casino one day where Manik Loser read something in a book about or an article about how happy people are and how much money influences that. And he just asked the whole table, how happy, just as general as it sounds like, are you right now in your life? Scale from 1 to 10, right? And I was like 6.5, 7, and Fedor was like, I don't know, 3.5 or 4.
3.5?
It was like really that moment where he was like kind of over.
Yeah.
He was like, he does not really know, and I was like, just that talk was like so interesting to be aware of like that stuff. And it's like, he said it, the same thing I just wanted to say, is like so many people expect that happiness after something is done, but actually it's more like a vacuum situation that you get into, and you need something new, right? People need something in life. It's not like, oh, you can do whatever you want now, but what the fuck do I do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man, I love talking about that shit. It can go on for hours. Last thing to wrap up the podcast. What's the best advice you've ever gotten in poker and outside of poker?
Oh, this is tough. Best in poker.
Maybe if you don't have it for poker in general, something that you can apply for poker. If it's something mindset related or life related, whatever it is, that you could also very well mirror or apply for poker.
I don't have like that moment of like advices for me.
Or an inspirational story, or
it's I didn't have too many of those moments, but I have random stuff coming into my mind now. Is one thing is in poker was obviously Canada 2014, where the moment I realized that different approaches are fine. Right?
Okay.
We were so many different but very successful players.
Yeah, that's true.
We worked in so different ways.
Yeah.
And like getting that together helped every one of us. Right? I remember the moment I'm remembering is I played Zoom 500. Fedor walked by and had a look and was like, "What the fuck? Why don't you bet?" I still remember the spot. It's like I open raise cutoff with 6-7 suited, small blind 3 bets, flop comes ace, king, queen. Right? So villain checks. My thought process is that like I have 0 equity, no backdoor equity. This is check, bet, river line. Right? To really just win against his other air, because if I check back, he bets, I fold 0 equity, that's fine.
Yeah.
And Fedor walks by is like, how can you not bet? Like if you bet, if you go for bet, on people fold 100%.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I have no clue about that, but he will probably be right. I just like that.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of stuck in my pattern of logic thinking, closer to GTO, and he's like, I played those idiots over and over again, and they will.
They're
like,
always going to
fall.
This is
why I would say the clearly better cash game player if you like think about theory and stuff. But he had the clearly higher win rate playing the same games, right? And this is something where like that there was a button clicking in my head of course that was a moment for me. Another one in life, now, I'm not sure about advice. It's like
or maybe inspiration, something that
like I still remember. I just remember I have one moment in my mind. Not sure. I mean, it does not really fit, but it was the support I got from someone who is not that close with me. It was like I visited my aunt and the uncle who is usually skipping all the family events because he's not that family successful in business, and he heard I was in that. It was just was in 2014 in the summer before moving to Brighton, and everyone else I talked to from my family is everyone is security is number one thing, and is that smart now not doing your master in uni and etc. And he was like, wow, this is awesome, this is what you need to do if you want to do that, if you feel like this is you're going to be successful. It was like that support. I just felt how much that meant to me, right? Yeah. Really getting that, you are on the right way. And taking away from that talk as well is something for life and for others as well, obviously, is no matter what you do, it's not about, don't choose your uni because or whatever you study because you will make a lot of money later. You will, as soon as you are good in what you are doing and you love what you are doing, you will first make the money you need and you will reach a total different level of happiness. And I studied business engineering just because I'm good at that stuff and I will get a good job. Yeah. This was my reasoning. And was I happy with what I studied? Obviously not really, right? It was not interesting. But then that was one other moment where I take something in life, definitely.
Yeah, I think that really illustrates well that it's important to also take advice from someone who might not be so close to you. It might, for some people, feel kind of awkward because especially if it's not necessarily, okay, in this case he defended you and that feels great, but also if it's a little bit more criticism, always keep in mind that this advice could be really good because it's unbiased. They don't know you, right? And I think especially in your situation, that's why it felt so great, because you didn't expect it. And he's speaking 100% the truth because he's unbiased. He has no interest. You don't have that deep personal relationship to sugarcoat. He doesn't, just because he's my friend, I'm going to say something nice. No, he can give a fuck about that. He's just going to say what he thinks is the best advice for you. So that's great, man. Last time I'm telling you a story. I can even post a screenshot. There was messaging me someone on Instagram. He said it in a very respectful way, and I really appreciated that. And I was like, that's a great fucking advice. He wrote me, hey Ben, you're doing all this workout and you post all this stuff about eating healthy, but somehow in some of the videos you look fat.
Okay.
Is there hidden secrets? Do you like desserts or spaghetti in the evening? And I messaged him, maybe if he's watching, drop me a comment, man. I really liked your honest message. And I said, yeah, of course, lately, lots of stress, lots of projects, and I'm not eating a lot of shit, but I'm just not eating in the right time. So if I don't have the time, I'm eating late. Also, maybe more carbs, especially when you try to follow more vegan diet. So I'm still eating healthy, but just not the right foods in order to get lean, And I told him, or I thought myself, yeah, I should definitely pay more attention to that. And I already started losing a little bit more weight. And I really appreciate it. Because it was very honest feedback, but it was respectful. I don't mind telling me someone, hey, what you did there, your explanation for that and the reason, I think different. I think it was a stupid reasoning. You can call me stupid. You can call me fat. I don't mind. As long as it's productive and provides some value. What I don't like is, hey, dude, you look fat. It doesn't give you any value. It's not.
I make a big difference there when it's when someone is talking about you who doesn't know you.
Yeah.
That's like, or like kind of insulting you. That's like not a line that is okay.
Yeah.
But if someone is talking about something you do, right? It's like, it's the different thing. Like, hey, Stefan, you are always late. It's like, and I don't know that guy, really, right? It's like, it's something that is not okay. But if you said, hey, we want to meet there, and it annoyed me that you were late there, that's like something that is cool, or like, I mean, obviously productive. And in that way, the way he took it is like, you're stupid and fat is not what he said. He said like, you look fat in some videos.
Yeah.
Which is like a totally different thing. And like, it's like, obviously it's great. The other part that I mentioned it's just tough to really take that as real criticism.
Yeah.
See it as advice. But this is just like one part, and you feel right away he wants you good, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
That's actually a good point. The moment you feel like, okay, he wants something good for me, I don't mind like, whatever he said.
Not criticizing you, right? Not at all, right? He's just like criticizing one certain fact that he has seen, right? That's that's a big difference in perception, or like in what I thought about stuff like that. What annoys like really so these. You are always like that comments from people that don't know me, right? If they are like one specific thing, perfect, right?
Yeah, it's all about making an impression that you're after doing something good for someone. And most of the time in the comments, if you go through YouTube comments, and of course try to respond to most of the comments, if I see someone that is just maybe trolling or hating or whatever, I don't even bother. I don't take it personal. I just click this beautiful looking delete button and I move on. In some other comments, someone calls me out for a stupid play, but actually he puts it in a way that it gives me the feeling that, first of all, he wants to give me an advice and that I can learn something. And also by doing that, that others can learn. And then I don't care what he said or how he puts it, right? Or which kind of words he's using. And the funny thing is actually for comments and DMs, and I'm now active on social media for around about a year. And it crossed my mind last week when I received that DM. It's like people in messages, in private messages, are usually very nice, very supportive. Even their criticism is always, hey Ben, here this video, maybe next time sound, audio, you can do that better. I appreciate it. I love it. Send it. In the comments though, people are sometimes trolling and hateful. Why?
Because there's like...
Because they just need attention. Right. They don't want you to learn or to get better. They just need attention from others. So never take it that personal, just delete it and focus on the ones that want you to become better, or they want to learn for themselves and have a question.
There are so different burdens, right? Just put yourself in his shoes, right? The burden to like post a stupid comment where there are like 100 comments is like nothing. It's just like, okay, I don't know, like I have a miserable life and I need to post that. Or like someone like really taking that seriously and taking the time to write you a direct message, right? This is kind of a high burden for pretty much any person. Just like randomly, like sending someone a direct message with like real input. Right? No one is writing a direct message like, you idiot, right? Like I've never received one like that. Yeah. Maybe you did, but
no.
It's like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
But if like I have so much fun like reading YouTube comments like on under videos that NLG posted for me or something. It's like, it's just so fun how stupid lots of stuff is. Yeah. And well, other stuff is obviously good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even, I mean, on to be fair, even those who are obviously just trolling or need some attention, it's like I don't even, of course some of them might have some very shitty lives and whatever, but I rather feel empathy for those that if you're that far that you need to post those toxic and very negative comments, I'm like, that sucks, it's like, I really would like to do something about it so they don't need to waste their time on and they know it consciously for themselves that this is just not going to bring them anywhere. It's not provide value. It's just wasting time at the end of the day, right? And this.
I mean, you just got to read over it. It's like,
Yeah.
It's actually.
Sorry. What did you say?
So,
you were cutting out for 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, it's actually putting a smile on my face if I read like super stupid comments. So it's like, because it's just like, I mean, I think we both can easily laugh about shit. So.
No, of course, and I think for everyone that is watching, please, guys, if you have criticism, always come from the standpoint of trying to really give an advice. And usually, I don't know anyone who wouldn't be very grateful for the advice that you were given, even if you use a bit more offensive language. That's just part of the journey. Stefan, thank you so much for the podcast. Last words I'm giving to you. Do you want to share something to wrap up the podcast?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. First of all, for maybe, as I said, like I'm planning on like playing more cash. I will share more of that. Maybe that some of you guys. I will split that from my Instagram account that I have right now. So there is a new coach.
Oh, nice.
With the good old O0.
Send me all the handles over. We're gonna put it in the description. You're gonna find. Yeah. Also check out No Limit Gaming. I'm pretty sure everyone who's following us knows about No Limit Gaming. They're an assemblance of very, very, very good poker players that started an esports foundation. Man, you signed Todd. That was a big sign up.
My hero. I watched his stream yesterday.
We also did a podcast or a review with Todd. So check out No Limit Gaming, follow them, support them. And part 2, we're gonna reviewing hands with Stefan. Stefan, thank you for the podcast and see you guys soon. Bye bye.
Can't wait to read the comments.